The book opens with a prologue narrated by Cathy, in which she hands over the mic to sons Bart and Jory. She expects that her two sons will be either a blessing or a curse. Either one of those two things, she's not quite sure which. Thanks for that parting thought, Cathy. I'm sure that's the very thing all mothers think upon first gazing into the big innocent eyes of their newborn baby, that this new child either signals a bright future ahead or the very real possibility that your child will one day plot with an old man to kill you. Chapter 1. Jory. So Jory is the golden child in this family, likes to say things like heck a lot. I remember when I was 8 or 9, I had a friend who couldn't say heck or darn, so my dad composed a song for me to sing to her that was basically just those two words repeated over and over again. Jory is 14 by this point. Probably doesn't even believe in God or Lucifer because he's being raised by two heathens, and even still he can't bring himself to say that word. I can't get it out. Okay. I'm on YouTube. He lives in Fairfax, California, in a house in the middle of nowhere, about 40 minutes away from the Tanner family. His parents don't care much for having neighbors, in case you haven't figured that out yet. It would just be more people sticking their noses in the family's private business. Jory has foggy memories of his mother's second husband, Paul Sheffield. He says it's not Paul's face he recalls, but rather how safe he felt in the man's presence. Jory was a 6-year-old boy at the time and not Dr. Paul's type, so he was safe enough. I want to point out that Jory clearly has pictures of Paul lying around the house. I doubt Cathy would have tossed them, so how does he not remember his face? This is clearly just an opportunity to hammer at home that Daddy Paul was a cozy saint of a man. Jory goes on to give his backstory in case you didn't read the prior 2 books and need to know all the details from the mouth of a young boy who has been gaslighted for half his life into thinking his Uncle Chris is merely his mother's 3rd husband. Jory's biological father is either Julian Marquette or Julian Marquet, who is well known in ballet circles, whereas Paul Sheffield was just some Southern doctor and a virtual nobody outside of his home state. That's Jory talking, by the way. He wants you to know his mother's first husband, his father, was real hot, sure, compared to Mom's second husband, Paul. Is this kid conceited or what? Jory also has a paternal grandmother, Madame Marisha, who is ashamed to have her grandson refer to her as his grandma. She says to call her mother instead, but Jory loves his own mother and never would betray her like that. Jory introduces us to the housekeeper, Emma. Then there's Jory's clumsy-as-hell younger brother, Bart. Bart is constantly knocking her over, and therefore a constant burden to Emma. The rest of this chapter is Jory spying on his mother and stepfather in the attic. His mother goes up there to sweep and dance, which she's not supposed to do because apparently everyone's worried she'll pass out from heat stroke or something. She's asked Jory to keep this habit of hers their little secret. In an attic alcove, his mother has presumably erected 2 beds. At least she doesn't deny it. She says she doesn't remember doing it either, as if a 37-year-old woman would just forget doing that. Remember, this was a woman who had to call on Chris and Paul to remove a nightstand and push 2 beds together when she slept in the same bedroom as Carrie as a teen back in the second book. And she's able to just completely assemble 2 beds in her sleep with no one in the house knowing. And by the way, Chris fully admits he brought the bedsteads up, so now I'm wondering if he was the one who put the beds together and is gaslighting Cathy into thinking she did it in order to make her believe she's going mad. We do know Chris is a handyman who once hung swings from the attic rafters to please the twins, swings he crafted with his own hands. The only question is why? Why would Chris put those beds in the attic and blame Cathy? We later find out Cathy wants to adopt a little girl named Cindy, whose mother was in a devastating car crash. Chris thinks his sister wife is being foolish. Does he think if he makes her feel like a bad mother and mentally unwell, she'll drop the idea of adopting another child? Something to think about. After all, during this argument, he warns her not to ever bring up to him again the idea of adoption, because her subconscious mind is clearly plotting for their potential downfall if their secret is ever found out. He's not exactly being subtle there. Jory doesn't understand what's going on here and why his stepfather is freaking out over beds and picnic baskets in the attic. Chris seems to think Mom is plotting to one day remarry and lock the boys up in a place where no one will ever be able to hear them scream. Jory, as I've previously stated, knows less than jack shit about his parents' actual background, despite the fact that he's quite frank about spying on their private conversations on the regular. Jory still believes Chris is Daddy Paul's younger brother. After presumably 7 years of peeping, he's somehow shocked to learn that his mother and latest stepfather knew each other when they were in their early teens. Just wait until he finds out they, in fact, knew each other a lot longer than that.
Wish I could give you up, but you're my new favorite drug. Enter into my blood, run with my toxic love. Look how you make me happy. You take a hold of me. Take a hold of me. I wish I could give you up, but you're my new favorite drug. Enter into my blood, run with my time.